Hello everyone! Thank you for watching a Live 2022 Overseas section. This is Wanko from Live2D. I am happy to hold this Overseas section again, continuing last year. This year's live event theme is Community. For this time, we'd like to focus on the experiences and connections of each Live2D creator, and we also want to pay attention to the communities related to Live2D and Live2D's technology. Live2D is growing not only in Japan, but also in overseas markets. As the VTuber industry grows, there are growing calls for 2D-related technologies in each industry. And this trend created various Live2D-related communities. So we've invited people from the 4 global Live2D communities for this overseas section today. Let's bring them up in order and have a talk. Give a warm welcome to our first guest. Hi guys!
Hello!
Hi!
Hi!
Hello!
Hi, hello! We have our amazing guests here from the Live2D Discord community, which is one of the most active Live2D community among overseas Live2D users. To hear more real voices from the community users, we actually recruited the participants on the community directly before recording. As a result, we have invited the 2 selected community general users and community admin Brian for today. So hello guys, can you briefly introduce yourself to people watching this section please?
Hello, I'm Brian. I'm the founder and the admin of Community Discord. I also make Live2D tutorials on YouTube, and I'm the director of Vertex company. We offer Live2D service. We also develop new techs to support VTubers. You can learn more about us on iv.gg.
Hi, thank you for joining us today, Brian. And hello, Vila.
Hello, I'm Vila. Nice to meet everyone. I'm currently working full-time as a Live2D rigger, focused on VTuber models for almost 2 years now.
Thank you so much for your participation. Very nice to meet you. And Curiosity, please.
Hi, I'm Curiosity. I'm a professional Live2D rigger focusing on making VTuber models. I've been rigging for close to 2 years now, and I have finished models for over 30 clients and counting.
Thank you so much for the amazing introductions, guys. It's a pleasure to meet you. Brian, I think most of the people who are watching this section might know about Live2D Discord, but for the people who might not know, can you introduce the Live2D Discord community, please?
Okay. It all started as a small group of Live2D users who got to know each other through watching my English tutorials on YouTube. And as more learners joined the Discord server, we started to share commission inquiries that we were not able to take on. And then there are some other content creators came into the server to shop around, and they're looking for professional service to create their VTuber models. Now we have an active marketplace where artists and designers also do business here, and you can browse the vendors in our marketplace on vtuber.gg. We want to make this community a resourceful and safe place for learners to learn Live2D, for creators to network with each other, and for professionals to find opportunities.
Thank you so much. I guess many people also want to know about why over 38,000 people are joining the Live2D Discord community. I mean, what kind of information and benefits people can obtain in the community. So, Curiosity, could you tell me how the server is helpful for you to learn and improve Live2D? And was that what you expected before joining the community?
I think the server is very helpful as a common space to help out with common roadblocks that beginner Live2D users might run into, which I always like doing, as well as just a great place to swap tips and information with more skilled users as well. It was also just incredibly helpful for when I was starting out learning Live2D. I think it was about what I expected, but I didn't expect it to grow so quickly at all. The 2 most helpful things, I think, in the server are probably the Handy Utilities channel, which is a repository of Live2D related tips and tutorials from other places, and the Live2D technical channel, where people, ask and share questions on techniques related to Live2D.
That sounds interesting. From our regular customer survey, we got to know lots of our overseas users are actually having trouble finding the Live2D learning materials. So I guess your answer could help them in a way. Thank you for the answer. And how about you, Bila?
Server has a lot of content and channels dedicated to helping that just by learning and interacting with the community, it will surely help people to discover and learn more about Live2D. There you can find tutorials and resources for both beginners and advanced users, as well as channels dedicated to answering questions. The community is also really open to help users with the problems. I first joined expecting to use it mostly for commissions, but ended up being my main source of Live2D knowledge.
That sounds great. I hope all of our users know that there are many people who would like to help other users in the community. That's a really good cycle, I think. Thank you so much. Okay, then let's move to the next question. I'm sure lots of our users really want to know about this commission. I guess many users might join in the community to get some information about commissions. So I want to ask you something about it. Curiosity, could you tell me what was it like when you first started taking commission in the marketplace? And what was your strategy to find opportunities?
It was definitely competitive, especially since I started taking commissions right around when VTubers really started to become popular. So my strategy was just keeping an eye on the commissions channel and DMing people who posted new listings, which is how I got my first commissions.
Thank you for sharing your experiences, Curiosity. And how about you, Bila?
It was so competitive as Curiosity said. During the start, I focused more on expanding my portfolio and sending the most of requests and people I could. After a while, my strategy naturally changed to focus on the connections I create with the artists of the community, making partnerships with them, and in exchange they recommended me my service to my clients.
Making partnership with lots of other artists and community members seems like a great key in your strategy. Thank you for sharing your experiences, Bila. And Brian, do you have any advice for the users who are actually having trouble with finding commissions or starting commissions?
There are a lot I can talk about to different kinds of people struggling in different scenarios. But here's one thing I think would be relevant to many starters. Now, if you're reaching out to a potential client, you got to understand that your standard sales pitch would sound like exactly like same other 50 other people's in their DM, right? So throwing your stack of portfolio videos at your customer saying, hey, I did this, I did this, I did this. And that will not give them a clue who is a better option for them, because you would sound like you just want a job and any job is fine to you. Instead, you want to sound like you want that specifically their job. You want their job is special to you. So you want to try looking into their character setting. You want to talk to them about their the personality, their idea of their stream, the vision of their project. You will stand out from the other 50 DMs who are making a generic sales pitch.
Getting to know about their characteristics would be a great weapon for them. Yeah, thank you for your great advice, Brian. And yeah, next question. I want to ask more about the community for our viewers. How do you spend your time on Discord server as a professional or just one of the community users? I also want to know about the utilized way of the community you want to recommend to the newcomers. What about you, Curiosity?
I think I tend more toward the professional side overall with my interactions in the community, but I do think either approach is super valid. I just personally prefer to keep things professional when I'm spending time in Live2D or VTuber related spaces. I know a lot of people who tend more towards just being another user of the community, and I do kind of wish I could be a little more like that. I think it would help a lot. I guess for newcomers, I really would just recommend searching the server first if you have a question, because chances are someone's probably had a similar question to you, and you'll be able to find that if you search for the right words. But, otherwise, just don't be afraid to ask for help.
That's a really great point, I think. Don't be afraid to ask for help, yeah. I also can see lots of creators want to help other users, beginners, and grow together. We are really happy to see those things. Thank you so much for your answer. And how about you, Villa?
I usually like to spend my time replying to people's questions about Live2D and also chatting with the audience in general. So I interact in the server in both ways, in a more professional side and a more casual one. For newcomers, I would just say, do not be afraid to interact and ask questions. The server is great for learning, and doing so it will help you grow. And you might even create connections and important friends along the way.
That's actually such a great example of making use of community. Yeah, thank you so much, Villa. Okay, then let's move to the next question. VTube models are in hot demand right now. Are there any types of projects other than VTube models you're interested in using Live2D to create? How about you, Curiosity?
I've been interested in doing Live2D animations, specifically for stream assets. I've noticed idle screens animated with Live2D are especially popular. Outside of that, I've also been interested in using Live2D for game development, but I think that more just be for my own personal projects rather than for commercial use.
Thank you for your answer. And how about you, Villa?
Yes, of course. While right now I want to keep focus on VTuber models, I would like to explore other uses for Live2D in personal and side projects, like for animating illustration, assets, and emotes.
Thanks. There are actually lots of users in Live2D, and we'd like to continue conveying the value more and more to our users and support them. And this is the last and quick question for you guys. I guess many of our Live2D users are interested in this question too, so please answer it with only a few words. How do you explain to your real life friends and family what your job is, Villa?
It's really hard to explain as most of my family members don't know too much about computers and internet. I usually tell them that I make avatars for people to use online and sometimes I show and make them use the model on the tracking on my phone. At least I try to explain. I hope they understand.
Thank you. And Curiosity?
I usually just tell them that I animate virtual avatars for people online. They don't always understand, but I think they kind of get the gist.
Okay, thank you. And how about you, Brian?
Sometimes it's easier for me to explain to a friend, family that they should just ask their kids instead of me, because the chances are that the kids have been watching VTubers and some of them are Uncle Brian's works. So that's a very, just don't ask me, just go towards kids. They know the answer.
This sounds a little bit complex, but I'm sure there are definitely some creative parts too in the introductions. Okay, thank you for the witty answers, guys. It was so fun to talk with you guys today, and I'm looking forward to seeing the future growth of the Live2D Discord community. Brian, for the last, could we please have a few words from you about your thoughts about today's event as a representative of the Live2D Discord community?
I think the community feels honored to be featured in the Live conference. In the past, a Live conference felt like overseas users didn't have a chance to be part of. There were overseas participants in the Creative Award, but we couldn't attend the event unless we happened to be physically in Japan. But in this interview, it feels like the community is formally participating, and overseas Live2D users and Japanese users are two big communities. They have been following each other on Twitter. They've been liking and retweeting each other's works. And this event feels like both communities finally get to meet up and shake hands. I think it's a meaningful experience for both sides.
That's so sweet. Shaking hands. Yeah, we are so happy to hear that. Yes, we are also really happy that we could have this kind of great chance to talk with our Live2D overseas users and take care of their activities. We hope that we could have this kind of opportunity regularly in the future too. Yeah, alright, that's it. Thank you so much for your participation again and sharing your honest opinions and experiences. I hope to see you guys again soon. Thanks, bye bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Please extend a warm welcome to our next guest. We have our special guest here today from the VTube Studio Discord community. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. VTube Studio is one of the most well-known and famous tools for Live2D VTubers. We are really happy that our Live2D users could have more chances with the technique of VTube Studio, and we are sure many of our users also want to know more about this unique and special tool. So Denchi, thank you so much for participating in the overseas section this year, continuing last year. But for the users who are watching this event for the first time, could you introduce yourself and about VTube Studio, please?
Hi, I'm Denchi. I'm the creator of VTube Studio, which started as a hobby project, but last year I started working on it full time. Other than that, I like drawing and making Live2D models, but nowadays I mostly just watch Twitch in my free time. And I also run the VTube Studio Discord with the help of my amazing moderators, Sora, Anthem, Luki, Miji, Eruben, who is also here today.
Thank you for the introduction. And Eruben, thank you so much for joining us today. Could you introduce yourself for our viewers, please?
Yes, hello, I'm Erwin Theodore, professional alchemist, VTuber, Live2D rigger, and moderator in the BTS server. Pleasure to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. And hello, Tom. I appreciate your participation. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, I'm Skeleton. I've been a skeleton VTuber for about 2 years now. I mostly stream programming and pizza baking. The endless need to fix software bugs is what keeps my soul from passing on, but I'm really happy where I'm at. I haunt the VTube Studio Discord as a frequent participant in the chat.
Thank you so much for the amazing introductions, guys. And it's Live2D Wanko. I'm today's moderator. Okay, then I'd like to quickly start by asking you a simple but very, very important question, Denchi. Why do you think Live2D VTuber should join the VTube Studio community? I mean, what kind of beneficial information could they get in the community?
So right now, the VTube Studio Discord is mainly just a central place for people to come to when they need help with anything related to VTube Studio. Currently, it sits at about 19,000 members, but I would say that most people who have joined aren't really that active or active at all. Most people just join to get help with a specific issue and then either leave or stick around once their problem is solved. But if you're interested in getting more involved in VTube Studio, there are a bunch of interesting things to do in the Discord as well. For example, before most releases, we have closed or open beta tests that you could participate in and try out new features before everyone else, even on stream if you want. You can also give feedback or suggest new features that you would like to see in VTube Studio. A whole bunch of user-suggested features were implemented that way, so if you have any cool ideas, I would definitely love to hear them. No guarantee, of course, that anything will get implemented. And there are also channels for sharing VTuber resources that can be used in VTube Studio, so if you're looking for cool stuff to use in your streams, or you want to share some stuff, please join. And finally, there's an active community of plugin developers for VTube Studio, so if that's something that you're interested in, you should also definitely come.
Interesting. It's really cool that participating in the community gives users the opportunity to contribute to the development of software in a way. Yeah, thank you so much for the answer, Denchi. And Tom, as a user of the server, could you share with us what kind of information in the community actually helped you and lots of general users' activities?
The support channel strikes me as probably the most important feature. Denchi and Eruben have a very robust ticket system for support issues. I see them helping people learn the program every day, all day, 24 hours a day. And they've kindly extended that system for use by plugin developers. So if you have a plugin that needs help, people can file a ticket and you can help them out there as well. So it's one central place for everybody to get help they need in a very timely fashion.
Yeah, that's a perfect role as a community. Okay, thank you so much for the answer. Okay, then let's move to the next question. 11, from the perspective of the community moderator, what do you think is the biggest benefit of participating in the VTube Studio Discord?
Well, as Denchi said before, I think the main reason is something broke in your V2 studio and you want it fixed. But I think the biggest benefit for people to stay on the server is to improve the VTubing community in one of two ways. The first one is just helping people get into VTubing. We have a lot of people come quite lost with VTubing, understanding how Live2D or V2 Studio works, or they are having issues that are preventing them from giving them their best performance, and we try to bridge that gap the way we can by helping them. And the other benefit that Denchi went a little bit into it before is to improve the VTubing community by going into uncharted territories. We have our plugin section for BTS, where amazing devs are and pretty ingenious users trying to find and develop new ways for people to enjoy VTubing. Videos, new chat interactions, way to collabs, way to control models in conventional ways. The limit is the sky. On top of that, you can help with V2 Studio betas, like Denchi said, and in those cases, you are pretty much directly improving the program. So yeah, mainly you're having an issue with the studio, come by, make a trial, and we'll try to help you. But please, read the rules first. As a mod, I'm forced to say that.
Yeah, thank you for your answer. And what about you, Tom? What is the biggest benefit of being active in the community as a user?
Like Arabin said, there is an entire section of the server dedicated to providing suggestions and feedback towards the development of VTube Studio and its API. This means I can, and often do, present feature requests to and solve problems directly with Denchi. As a VTuber, this is like having a hotline directly to God. Our prayers actually get answered. I get to speak with the almighty creator and help shape the fabric of VTube Studio for the better. The other clear benefit is I get to meet similarly interested people. I've made quite a few friends and colleagues discussing plugins and API development in the server. These small but focused community of plugin developers are always pushing the limits of what is possible, and because Denchi is right there watching and listening, VTube Studio evolves rapidly to accommodate them. It's a very symbiotic relationship.
Thank you for your answer. I definitely agree that people meeting each other who have a similar interests will greatly benefit the growth of the community and even the growth of the whole market. Thank you. And Denchi, as an admin of the community, is there any recommended community users you would like to suggest to the community users?
I think Tom and Eruben already summed it up quite nicely. If you're making something for VTube Studio, need help with it, or just have a couple ideas on what could be improved, then you're welcome in our Discord, whether it's just for a small time or for the long run. I'm thankful for each user of VTube Studio, so if anyone has problems with the app, I want to make sure that I help them the best I can, with the help of the other mods, of course. I do think it would be nice to have some more relaxed events from time to time that aren't focused on just fixing people's issues, though.
I'm personally so interested in the relaxed events. Thank you. And I hope the users will not struggle alone. Just join the community and get quick support from the amazing other community users. Okay, thank you. Alright guys, at this point, I'd like to ask you about the future growth, direction of the community you want to see. I want to hear the answer from Eleven first. What do you think about it?
I agree with Denchi that we probably need to lose a little bit of fear of being only focused on support and try to give something back to the community. We have a plugin section, for example, with people trying to develop new and fun stuff for VTubing, and I would love to better support devs on that. I mean, even help users find out and get into plugins in general. I think a lot of people don't get into them due to fear or just ignorance of them, so I'm sure we can improve in that. Apart from that, just giving back to the community in general. We have lots of amazing regulars who give a hand in betas and testing, answering threads, and guiding new people when the staff is busy. So some way of giving back to them. Maybe community events, movie nights, game nights, something to make them feel appreciated for what they do for the community. The community wouldn't be the community without them. It's also when we will need to decide on the mod team. We are already trying to discuss what we can do, but yeah, improving either or both of those areas would be my idea.
Thank you for sharing your opinions. I'm impressed because I kind of bet your affection for the users from your answer. That's really great. And how about you, Tom? I think your opinion could include and represent the thoughts of many general community users.
I think the biggest obstacle towards the future growth of the server is simply that folks do not know about it in time when they need help. It's kind of the nature of the beast with Discord replacing internet forums of yesteryear. It's not something you can just easily search up and find your exact answer for on Google or a web browser. You have to know to go into Discord, know to look for a server, and then take a couple additional steps. So a lot of folks end up missing out. But that said, I do think that the community is going really well and things are pretty stellar as they are. Denchi mentioned earlier there's like 19,000 concurrent users, and I think that's great. After all, this is a help desk. You know, it's not a nightclub. Not every venue on the internet needs to be a highly social one with games and events all the time. I think the fact that people are constantly talking and staying in a server that is meant to be a help desk is really impressive in and of itself.
Interesting. Thank you for your great insights, Tom. And Denchi, what do you think about their thoughts? Are those opinions similar to the direction you are aiming for?
Yeah, I can definitely see both sides. So like Tom said, the VTube Studio Discord was primarily created as a support forum, and it has mostly stayed that way until now. But the Discord has grown a lot since then. And like Ruben said, it could be fun to have smaller events there from time to time, if we can manage to organize them somehow, of course. But yeah, we'll see about it.
Yeah, interesting. I hope to see the continued growth of the VTube Studio community. All right, it's time to wrap up already. Okay, thank you so much for your time, guys. Denchi, lastly, as the representative of VTube Studio, please tell us how you feel about today's event.
Yeah, thanks a lot for inviting us. And of course, also thanks for all of your work on Live2D Cubism in general. I've said this last year at the event as well, but your technology is what makes 2D VTubers possible. And I'm really excited to see where you will lead the industry and VTuber community next.
Yeah, we are really glad to hear that. Thank you so much for your time, guys, today. I hope to see you guys in the near future again. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
那我们接下来就继续海外环节。这次除了英语圈的嘉宾以外，这次Alive 2022还特别邀请到了韩国与中国的 Live2D 社区的嘉宾来跟我们聊一下。而说到 Live2D 在中国市场的发展，我们很高兴的看到今年很多游戏都会使用到 Live2D 的技术，特别是虚拟主播圈对 Live2D 模型的需求更是在不断的增加。每天逛 B 站或是微博都会看到很多有趣的 Live2D 的作品或是教程。然后随着中国的用户数也在不断的增加，慢慢的形成了中国用户的 Live2D 社区，而当中活跃用户数最多的肯定要数 Live2D 相关的 QQ 群了，所以我们今天特别邀请到了活跃 QQ 群的管理人小健老师来跟我们聊一下。Hello， 小健老师，可以先请老师做一个简单的自我介绍吗？
Hello， 大家好，我是小健啊，一名普通的动画爱好者。我从2016年左右开始接触的 Live2D， 自学半年以后，就以 Live2D 动画师的身份进入了游戏行业。经过几年的摸爬滚打，现在经营了一家以 Live2D 为主的动画外包公司，跟一些二次元游戏厂商有着长期的业务合作。在我刚开始接触 Live2D 的时候，教程是非常的少，网上能找到的 Live2D 相关视频大概也只有个位数。我自学的时候呢，也是有幸能够加入当时为数不多的几个 QQ 群，在里面呢有很多大佬找到的一些教程资源呀，以及分享的一些心得啊之类的。还有一群大佬会帮你解决一些棘手的 Live2D 问题啊。就这样我交到了不少的朋友啊，甚至也是通过了群聊来找到了自己未来工作的一个契机啊，从此开始了自己的 Live2D 生涯。
原来是这样的，谢谢老师的介绍。我真是觉得老师作为就首先是超级早期的 Live2D 的用户啊，而且就整个经历吧，真的是非常的励志。对于我来说，就自学 Live2D， 然后到现在工作都是跟 Live2D 相关，然后就成立了就动画公司，真的是我觉得会给很多就 Live2D 的用户或是小伙伴们就给到一些就参考吧。 刚才听老师说，就在 QQ 群里面，除了能交朋友，而且还有遇到的工作上的机遇嘛，真的是觉得就想继续深挖一下。小健老师，你觉得正在管理的几个 Live2D 的 QQ 群里面，就会接触到怎样的信息呢？或者是平时群里面大家就聊的都是什么，就怎样交流的呢？
好的，了解。那我说一个 Live2D 的群梗，一个梗吧，就是 Live2D 群啊，除了 Live2D 什么都能聊，就是目前 Live2D 很多的一个现状吧，就是大家平时没事也不是说一直都在聊 Live2D 相关的问题的，那平时没事也就水群嘛，然后聊一下当时热门的一些话题。不过偶尔还是会有新人来问问题的，就是大家做东西肯定会碰到各种各样的问题，然后这时会有一些群友们看到之后就会帮忙回答一下，解决一下。在此还是很感谢那些乐于帮助别人的群友们。我也是近2年感觉到 Live2D 是越来越热门了，每天都有很多的人加群。然后我确实也是因为工作太忙，也没有时间管理群了，于是我就把自学能够用到的一些教程啊、链接，还有一些相关的学习资料，都放到了群里面，供大家来查看。这样的话，像新人应该会很方便的开始一个自学的一个教程吧，一个开头吧。
原来如此，听起来就 Live2D 的 QQ 群真是就好欢乐，就除了还有正经就问问题的新人，然后也是有水更健康的用户吧，可以这样说，就听起来很欢乐。而且管理人也就小健老师也就真的是很热心的在管理 QQ 群，就希望以后就有更多的就小伙伴可以加入老师的 QQ 群，分担一下小健老师的业务吧，帮助老师也管理一下 QQ 群。那么老师，你觉得用户加入了 Live2D 的 QQ 群会有哪些好处呢？
好处的话肯定是有的。作为一名刚接触 Live2D 的新人，加入 QQ 群最直接的好处就是可以方便下载到官方的 Live2D 软件，而且还会有一些整理好的视频教程链接。如果你找不到合适的练手素材的话，那群里还会提供裁分好的 PSD 还有一些官方的模板供你参考。然后群里也会有人将自己一些 Live2D 的心得还有一些进阶的技巧发布到群文件里面。那群里的话还会时不时有一些人发一些外包的需求，比如说是 VTuber 制作，甚至还有一些游戏动画的制作需求。当你拥有一定的作品，或者是用实力达到一定的程度之后，就可以开始自己的职业接包生涯。甚至呢还会有一些大公司经常来群里面发布 Live2D 动画师的招聘需求。对，以上都是可以直接获得的好处。那加入群组，我觉得还有一个很大的价值，就是可以认识一些朋友。那这些朋友可以成为你未来的一些合作伙伴呀，还会一起跟你一起提升 Live2D 的相关技巧，扩展一下自己的人际网络。对，你还可以在群里面发布一些自己的作品吧，然后帮自己推广一下等等。
听完老师的回答，真的是特别想推荐萌新也好，有经验的 Live2D 用户也好，希望更多人可以加入老师的 QQ 群。虽然还有着很多想问的问题，但是真的是很遗憾，时间有限，我们今天只能先告一段落了。最后可以请小健老师给正在观看的观众最后打一个招呼吗？
可以的。相信看到这里的同学们，应该是大部分对 Live2D 抱有热情的新人们。无论你是加群提问也好，看视频教学也好，都是一种学习的方式。我认为最重要的不是学习的方式吧，而是你对一件东西的热爱喜欢并且坚持，这才是你通往梦想的捷径吧。然后另外，由于 QQ 群的搜索经常抽风所以我就给大家提供了一些我认为比较适合新人的一些活跃的 QQ 群号方便大家去加一下。那最后我希望大家的 Live2D 可以越做越好能够通过 QQ 群交到更多的朋友走上自己的人生巅峰。
真的是感谢小健老师今天的分享，也很感谢观看到这里的观众，所以我们就先跟大家说个拜拜。
再见，拜拜。
拜拜。
네, 계속해서 해외 섹션의 마지막 게스트를 모시고 자담회를 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 2016년 버추얼 유튜버 붐이 시작된 이후 한국에서도 버추얼 유튜버와 관련된 다양한 산업과 커뮤니티가 등장했는데요. 특히 올해는 한국의 다양한 플랫폼 내에서도 라이브2D 관련 콘텐츠가 증가하는 등 한국 라이브2D 시장도 점점 더 성장하고 있는 상황입니다. 이 트렌드에 따라 한국의 라이브2D 커뮤니티의 운영자이신 하즈라님을 모시고 한국 라이브2D 시장과 커뮤니티에 대해서 이야기를 나눠보고자 합니다. 안녕하세요, 하즈라님.
네, 안녕하세요.
네, 오늘 한국 라이브2D 커뮤니티의 대표로 Alive 2022년 해외 섹션에 참여해 주셔서 감사합니다. 간단한 자기소개와 현재 운영하고 계시는 한국 라이브2D 커뮤니티에 대해서 가볍게 소개해 주실 수 있을까요?
네, 만나서 반갑습니다. 한국에서 라이브2D 애니메이터로 활동하며 한국 라이브2D 커뮤니티를 운영 중인 하즈란이라고 합니다. 한국 라이브2D 커뮤니티는 네이버 카페와 디스코드 두 곳을 통해 운영 중에 있으며 제가 라이브2D에 입문한 지 얼마 안 되었을 때 부족한 정보와 자료 등을 정리하기 위해 시작했지만 지금은 한국의 많은 라이브2D 애니메이터와 일러스트레이터 분들이 참여해 주셔서 라이브2D와 관련한 유용한 정보를 공유하며 새로운 테크닉 등을 배우며 함께 발전해 나가는 것을 목표로 운영 중인 커뮤니티입니다.
네, 소개 감사드립니다. 지금 하즈라님께서 운영하고 계시는 커뮤니티가 아마 한국에서는 가장 큰 라이브2D 유저 커뮤니티일 텐데요. 커뮤니티 내에서 유저분들이 얻으실 수 있는 정보에 대해서도 간략하게 소개를 해주실 수 있을까요?
아무래도 한국어 기반 커뮤니티이다 보니 당연하겠지만 한국어로 번역된 라이브2D 정보를 포함한 기타 프로그램에 관련한 소식 등을 빠르게 접하실 수 있고 멤버분들이 수집해 주시는 다양한 레퍼런스 자료 등을 기반으로 라이브2D에 입문하신 지 얼마 안 되신 작업자분들도 높은 실력을 얻으실 수 있을 거라 생각하며 커뮤니티 내에 작업자분들이 올려주시는 다양한 작품 등을 통해 새로운 영감을 받아 본인의 작업에 응용하는 등의 지속적인 발전을 할 수 있을 것 같습니다. 또한 버추얼 스트리머 데뷔를 위해 많은 분들이 커뮤니티를 찾아와 주시곤 하는데 스스로 작업을 진행함에 있어 막히는 부분이라든지 퀄리티적 문제들을 크리틱이나 Q&A를 통해 많이 해결해 가시곤 합니다. 그리고 아직은 기획 단계에 있지만 한국 커뮤니티에 계시는 초보 라이브2D 애니메이터 분들을 위한 콘텐츠 등을 준비하고 있습니다.
오, 혹시 어떤 콘텐츠를 준비하고 계시는지 지금 이 자리에서 살짝만 알려주실 수 있을까요?
네, 아무래도 한국 커뮤니티 시작이 제가 업로드한 간단한 라이브2D 강의 영상이다 보니 이걸 통해 많은 분들이 커뮤니티를 접하게 되었습니다만 강의가 다소 오래되기도 했고 강의를 보면서 사용할 자료가 없다 보니 이와 관련해서 그동안 제가 작업하면서 터득한 노하우 등을 정리한 신규 강의들을 비롯한 참고 자료 등을 조금씩 준비하고 있습니다. 이번에도 마찬가지로 무료로 공개하지 않을까 싶습니다.
오, 정말 기대되네요. 라이브2D를 시작하고자 하는 한국 유저분들에게 정말 많은 도움이 되는 컨텐츠가 될 것 같아요. 저도 기대하고 있겠습니다. 그럼 벌써 마지막 질문인데요. 커뮤니티에 참여함으로써 이제 얻을 수 있는 특별한 메리트 혹은 그에 관해서 혹시 기억에 남는 에피소드가 있으시다면 공유해 주실 수 있을까요?
네, 프리랜서 라이브2D 애니메이터 분들도 많이 계시다 보니 시장에 뛰어드신 지 얼마 안 된 라이브2D 애니메이터 분들도 한국 시장 내에 라이브2D 기술을 활용한 버추얼 관련 정보 혹은 버추얼 시장 자체의 동향이나 소식 등을 활동을 하면서 자연스럽게 알아가실 수 있을 거라 생각합니다. 다른 국가권에 비하면 아직까지 유저분들의 수가 턱없이 적은 편이지만 그래도 커뮤니티 자체는 꽤나 오래된 편이라 처음에 오셔서 열심히 질문하시는 분들이 이제는 현업으로 활동하시면서 새로운 유저분들에게 질문에 답해주시는 등의 선순환도 지속적으로 이어지고 있기에 개인적으로 더더욱 초보자분들이 혼자 라이브2D를 독학하시면서 헤매지 마시고 커뮤니티를 통해 라이브2D에 대한 정보를 빠르게 습득해서 라이브2D 애니메이터로 당당하게 활동해 나가셨으면 좋겠습니다.
정말 좋은 말씀 감사드립니다. 마지막으로 지금 이 해외 섹션을 이제 시청하고 계시는 저희 라이브2D 유저분들에게 한 말씀 부탁드립니다.
한국의 버추얼 시장은 1년 전과 비교한다면 상상하기 힘들 정도로 빠르게 성장하면서 버추얼 MCN 기업들도 다수 생겨났으며 지금까지도 새로운 기업들이 버추얼 시장에 도전을 하고 있는 상황입니다. 그에 반해 한국에서의 일정 수준 이상의 퀄리티를 안정적으로 제작할 수 있는 라이브2D 애니메이터의 수는 적은 편입니다. 혹시라도 안정적인 퀄리티로 모델을 제작하고 계시면서 해외 시장에도 관심을 가지고 계신 해외 라이브2D 애니메이터 분들이라면 한국 시장 또한 도전해볼 만한 가치가 있는 시장이라고 말씀드릴 수 있을 것 같습니다.
네, 오늘 정말 많은 정보를 공유해 주셔서 감사드립니다. 앞으로도 한국 라이브2D 시장의 성장을 응원하도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
네, 감사합니다.